So you want to know what it's like to live in Hawaii? What is Hawaii like? I think there's this big mystery. For some reason, people kind of like don't understand, or they're very curious, like they want to know what it's like to actually live in Hawaii. And in this video, I want to talk about what I think the cheapest and simplest way to know what life is really like in Hawaii. So when most people want to know what it's like to live in Hawaii, they probably go online, they do some research, they read some blogs, or they watch some YouTube videos about food or epic beaches, places you can swim. Maybe they have a guidebook telling them the best places to go, or just recommendations from friends, but it's kind of hard to know what it's like on an everyday basis. Those resources are really good, but I think they tend to show you what you can do in Hawaii, not really what life is like in Hawaii. Now, a lot of people suggest vacationing here first. Just visit on a short-term sort of stay, and then you kind of get a sense of what the culture is like, and maybe if you want to move back to Hawaii or you want to move to Hawaii, you can figure it out based on that. But I'd argue that actually that's not really a good gauge, because when you come to vacation in Hawaii, you're sort of in a different mindset. You're more like you want to spend money, you want to consume things, you want to go out to eat every night, and you want to go to all the beaches and all the hikes, and yeah, that's great. But that's not what everyday life is like here for most people. We have that option, but frankly, a lot of us are so busy working that, you know, we'd be lucky to get out once a month. Because being on vacation is very different from actually living here, and you're sort of stuck here. And I recognize that. I thought about living in Japan for a long time, just moving from Hawaii and living in Japan, because I liked it when I went to go on vacation. But I realized that if I were to actually go there, it's not the same thing. So my suggestion is to read the newspaper. I know it's so boring. It's that paper thing that you used to, read, your grandma used to read on the weekend. I think reading the newspaper gives a pretty good sense of what life is like here in Hawaii. Hawaii only has one major newspaper. It's the Honolulu Star Advertiser. Unfortunately, it's online, so you can look at it wherever you are in the world. We also have another political newspaper called Civil Beat. It's interesting. It's pretty active during the legislative session, but you might want to also check it out if you kind of want to know about politics here. Now, why do I suggest that? It's because when you read the newspaper and you start to see sort of the everyday news, it kind of de-glamorizes Hawaii in a way, and that's a good thing, because Hawaii is not this tropical paradise. And I think a lot of people, when they come here, they're kind of shocked, like, oh, it's kind of like where I came from. Hawaii has regular people that have to deal with regular problems, and that doesn't go away because we're considered a paradise, an island resort. I think the two biggest things that people sort of deal with or encounter when they come here is the culture shock and the cost of living. And those are things that, unfortunately, especially if you move here, it's kind of hard to recover from that without moving back to where you came from. So for an example, here are just some of the headlines from the past few weeks in Hawaii. 2 tourists kidnap and assault another tourist. Moped driver dies. Mom and daughter robbed at popular Costco. Prison employee found dead in prison. Hiker goes missing, but actually she was just found a few days ago. So it's not exactly tranquil paradise in the Pacific. But that's not to scare you. It's just really to show that Hawaii is not just this boring resort. I mean, there are things that actually go on here. So some quick tips about reading the newspaper. First thing is just try to look for trends. You don't have to read every article. Take a look at some of the social issues like cost of living, housing, homelessness, environmental things. Those are some big things. You'd be surprised about what makes news here in Hawaii. Tip number 2 is try to read the newspaper every day, maybe 1 or 2 weeks before you come here. And you don't have to read every single article. Just look at the headlines. There's like a paywall behind some of the articles anyway. But I just suggest just try taking a browse at some of the headlines, 5 to 10 headlines, and maybe keep a little mental note about what some of those trends are. And number 3 is after you start reading some of these articles, don't let the news create any fear in you. I think if you start watching the news or paying attention to the news, sometimes it can kind of control you. You get sort of scared or fearful of everything, and Hawaii is not that place. But it's just to, I think, make sure that you're just sort of aware of what's going on. The newspaper is just trying to sell news, right? It's trying to get eyeballs on its website, and so maybe sometimes things are sensationalized, but just be aware of what's going on. Yes, there's crime, and yes, there's accidents. You should be aware of those things, but don't be afraid of those things. And I think there's a big difference between that. So that's my biggest tip. So if you want to know what Hawaii is like, just look online at the newspaper for a week or two. You'll figure it out. So thanks for watching, and aloha.